Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Booktube Chicks Book Club discussion for September. Tonight we're going to be discussing My Oxford Year by Julia Whelan. And as usual, I'm here with these two lovely ladies who are going to introduce themselves in just a moment. If you've never been to one of our live shows before, basically the way it works is as we're doing introductions, we're also going to do our initial thoughts, which are spoiler free for the first 5 to 10 minutes. And then after that, we are going to go into spoiler discussion for the book. So, Desiree, since you're right next to me, if you'd like to go ahead and start.
So I loved this. It's written in first person. I really like Julia Whelan's writing. I also listened to the audiobook, which is narrated by her, and she just does an incredible job. I kind of hate the cover of the book, to be honest. I feel like it does not reflect the story, and I bought this like so long ago, and I just was never eager to read it because I didn't like the cover. So the saying is correct: don't judge a book by its cover. Because I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really good. I cried multiple times while I was reading it. I loved just the integration of like poetry in it. I loved how heartfelt it was. It was just like a very emotional book, especially when you're talking about two characters that seem somewhat emotionally unavailable at the beginning. And I don't know, I just loved it.
And I'm Kathleen. I'm still like undecisive of what I am rating this book. I agree. I actually really enjoyed this book, and I agree that the author doing the narrating of, because I listened to the audiobook, I couldn't get the ebook in time. Narrating her own book was actually really great, and I didn't notice it until the ending when they were doing the author's note, and they mentioned that she both wrote and read the book, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And I think she actually did a good job, and it's her narrating is actually part of the reason why I enjoyed the book so much, because I don't know how to explain it, but the way she just narrated the book it felt engaging to me, and I kind of really bonded with the main character. And I did enjoy this book. I did rate it 3.5 stars. I don't know why, but for me, it's between a 3.5 and a 4. I usually rate it down when I'm like between ratings. I may change it to a 4 after this discussion, because I usually always, well, not always, but I usually sometimes change my mind after our discussions. But I enjoyed, I liked the relationship between our main character and the love interest. I really liked the ending. We'll discuss the ending later. But I enjoy, I feel like it's not a story that's like super like fast-paced writing, and it's not like, I felt like it's hard to, I'm sorry, I don't know how to explain it. I felt like it was the perfect balance of interesting and just like it was a slow-paced book that I enjoyed, I guess you could say. So there was enough interesting things there that I wanted to keep listening to the book, and I wanted to know what happens next. And again, the narrating made me more interested in the main character slots. I did not notice that was first person written. That's honestly not something that I usually notice, whether it's first person or third person. I don't notice that. I just start listening or reading to a book. But yeah, right now it's between a 3.5 and a 4 star. I have a feeling that by the end of the discussion, I will be bumping my rating up to 4, but I did really like this book.
My name is Chloe. You're on my channel. So I feel like, how do I word this? I feel like I was kind of in a fever dream while I was reading this book, and that's because I read it, the bulk of it, while I was working the shelter. I had initially started it on audiobook, and I'd listened to the first couple of chapters as audio. My experience with Julia Whelan is I love her as a narrator. If you're familiar with the Emily Henry audiobooks, the Taylor Jenkins Reid audiobooks, she does a lot of very popular book narrations. And I've read her other book, Thank You for Listening. I really enjoyed that one. So this one, I don't know if this was her debut book or not. But for the first couple of chapters of listening, there are a lot of characters to keep up with at first that kind of was throwing me for a loop. I think I eventually did end up sitting down and reading like maybe like 75% of the book all the way to the end, like with my eyeballs, in one sitting. And I I agree that it is a slow-paced book. Don't expect like a lot of fast-paced stuff, but there is enough sprinkled throughout that kept it enjoyable. Um, I ended up giving it 3.5 stars, which is like a little better than okay for me. I just don't think for me it was a 4-star book. Um, the plot line. Okay, well now let's just go ahead and start getting into spoilers.
Do some content warnings.
Yes, I actually have some written down as well.
Okay.
So content warnings for off-page death of a parent, off-page death of a family member, and then cancer and treatments. Did you have anything you wanted to add for that, Desiree?
Misogyny.
Okay. Yes. So I guess this isn't really a spoiler, but we may as well just go into spoiler territory. The Oxford Year plot line, along with the political worker timeline, it's not that it was bad. It was just like two very different things, because I feel like there were points during the book where I completely forgot that she was supposed to be like returning to DC to work on this presidential campaign. I don't know if you guys feel the same or different on that one.
I didn't ever forget. I was just like thinking, girl, you've fallen in love. You're not going anywhere. Like, and you know, she was just, and not only that, but even when she found out about Jamie, she was still like, yeah, I'm going back. I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's just no way that, like, how are you still thinking that you're going back?
I mean, definitely before she found out about his cancer, it made sense that they both wanted to keep it as just like essentially a fling. But then she got involved, like very involved.
Like, I think there was a part where, like, you know, after his treatment, he was just like really sick, and she was saying that they were spending a lot of time in the bathroom. And like, and during that scene, she was still talking about, she may have even received a call while she was in the bathroom with him, but like, she was still talking about, oh yeah, I'm going back in June. I'm going back in June. I'm like, you are in the bathroom while this dude is throwing up. Like, you're doing the most right now. There's just no way that you still think that you're going back. But she was very, she thought she was going to.
I know you talked briefly about the cover, and I definitely agree. Like, I was not expecting like such a hard-hitting book just from this. I mean, I wasn't I feel like I wasn't expecting anything really light-hearted, not like her other book, but it was more just like, wow, this is really happening.
You know what else? Like, I don't know where I was reading it, but it referred to it as a rom-com, and I don't even know if I would say that that's a rom-com. Like, were
Yeah.
there any funny parts? Like, maybe like his dry humor in a couple places, but like not anything where I was laughing out loud. Like, it was a fairly serious book.
For the first half, I wouldn't have even really called it a romance so much as like a general fiction until the second half.
I don't know if you guys read like the author's note or the essay at the end where she was talking about, because it's kind of like a retelling. It's based on a screenplay. So the whole thing was interesting in the sense where, like, Julia Whelan still went to Oxford, so she kind of used some of her experience there to write the book. And like her own father had died shortly before she got the contract to write the book, and then like her two grandparents died like 6 months after that, or they died 6 months apart or something. So like there was like a lot of grief in her life when she was writing this.
What is it not an adaptation, a retelling of?
Let's see. have it on my Kindle, so.
I think is it Love Story? No, that's which it was. I don't know.
I know that was like mentioned. It was like there was like a screenplay and there was the novelization of a screenplay. It probably even says it. Look at the synopsis. Does it say it in there, like on the back of the book? But I think it was like a play from the 70s or the 30s or some shit.
Well, it says one of the inspirations for the okay. It says one of the inspirations for the Oxford screenplay was the 1970 film Love Story. But for novel, okay, I'm confusing myself, so I'm just going to stop talking.
It might be Love Story. I feel like it had a different name though, so I don't know. I don't know. I just really liked it. I thought the writing was like so beautiful.
You read her other book, right? Did we read that together? Okay. Couldn't remember.
Yeah, I give that.
I feel like they're so different. I mean, it's been a minute since I read her other book, but they're just so different.
I feel like they're only different in the sense where like no one's dying in the other one. But like to me, the writing seemed very similar. Like I don't think the writing is different. Like the topic might be different. And then there was more sexy times in the second one. But other than that, I don't know. I enjoyed them both the same amount.
I don't remember what I rated the other book. I remember liking it, but I don't remember what I rated it.
Did you guys have any like ideas about why he had a reputation? Or like I guess it was established that he had a reputation for kind of like sleeping around, but I was like, I don't know. I guess there was a part of me that was like, it must be some mistake.
I mean, that could be because he knew he was going to die.
Well, no, that's definitely why he was like that. But like, I think I was just expecting there to be some miscommunication or like some assumptions that were inaccurate, or I didn't expect it to be that he was dying of cancer.
I feel like, okay, so I feel like the cancer plot line, while it ends up being a large part of the book, I feel like it came out of left field because I totally was not expecting that. I don't even think it's in the synopsis at all. So it was like completely unexpected, at least on my part.
I think they were trying to put a little bit of like foreshadowing in there when he forces her to read the poem and he's like, what does that make you feel? Sort of a little bit that you get the sense that she's going to experience some kind of loss or some kind of heartbreak or some kind of loss, or and then just, you know, the fact that he didn't want to get in a relationship, like obviously there was a reason there. And he seemed like a good guy, so it had to be a serious one.
I mean, I don't remember what the other choices were when we picked this book, but I promise I didn't know it was this hard hitting when I put it as a choice.
No, I know. Like I didn't either. I had no idea. I was just like, oh, I bought that Julia Whelan book. I'll pick that one.
I found it at a library bookstore and I was like, hey.
Am I the only one that cried?
Yes, I couldn't cry. I was in the middle of a stressful situation.
It was, I mean, it was sad, but I've only ever cried on one book, and this was not it.
The Book Thief?
No. A Monster Calls. That was the only book I ever cried.
Wow. No, yeah, I cried multiple times, but like the first time I cried was when she kind of tricked him into going into the cellar with his dad, and like their whole conversation, that whole thing. Yeah, that was emotional.
What did you think of the ending? I liked it. I liked that it was kind of open ended. I liked that it was kind of like not a happily ever after, but like a happy for now kind of endings that, you know. So I liked it rather than just being like they were happy for 3 months and then he died kind of ending. You know what I mean? But yeah, I did enjoy that ending.
I was prepared. I was like, this man's gonna die at the end. Like, you know, I was like, somebody needs to tell me right now, because I did not want to, like, I needed to be prepared.
I was like, no. No, I was expecting. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna go on this like final farewell trip kind of thing, and then he's gonna like get sick on the. Then they're gonna have to come back, and he dies, and then there's like this whole sad ending, and I was pleasantly surprised. I think that's because I was expecting the worst. That I think it's why, because I love the ending so much. So
yeah, and I was like, this is a romance, right? Because if it had just turned into like women's fiction where he did die, I don't know, I would have been upset. Yeah. What did you guys think about the fact that like he was so wealthy?
I mean, it didn't really make a difference to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've been reading a lot of books recently where people are rich.
What did you think about the gift that he gave her?
Oh, the book of poetry.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like right around then that's where I was like, this man's not going to make it out of the hospital. When she found that, I was like, oh, he's going to die.
I think it was sweet. It kind of matched the, like, I guess the vibe of the book, was especially with every chapter starting with like some kind of poetry passage.
Yeah.
So I think it was sweet and meaningful for them. So
not to make this political, but I feel like the person who was running who was part of the presidential campaign, like I can't remember what her name was, but she was like, she could be the first woman president. She's a current VP or maybe a former VP running against, or maybe was she running against a VP? The point is, I was like, this is happening like now in real life, which is wild because it came out in like 2017 or 18.
I really liked, I think that might have been like the only passage that I highlighted. Hold on. Was when they found out she was pregnant.
I love how they took that spin on that during the debate. Make the other guy look like an asshole.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I haven't fully figured out how to use my Kindle. I don't even know how to get to my bookmarks. But like I highlighted that whole conversation because I thought it was really good. But I think, like, again, going back to where he made her, well, basically he was critiquing her paper. He was like, yeah, you wrote a whole bunch of stuff about this, and this, but none of it was part of the assignment. The way he just kind of made her like sit down and read and listen and like feel something.
Yeah.
Just analyze it. I feel like that really set the tone for the book. So then for
I
me,
totally forgot that he was her professor.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
That was interesting too, because I remember
Yeah.
the line where he was like, "Yeah, we don't have those rules here," and I was like, "Okay."
Welcome to England.
Yeah, were they this like the same-ish age, or was he older than her?
I
I'm sure he was older than her, but I don't think there's like a giant age gap between them. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, what, she's in her early 20s. I was thinking maybe early 30s, late 20s for him.
Because like they make or they put an emphasis on it being like her birthday at some point, and that she was turning 25, but I don't remember them mentioning how old he was. Did you guys think Cecilia had a thing for him?
Is she the one who was with the brother? No.
Not even in the beginning.
I think that she knew like what he was going through, and that she like I don't know how to explain it. Like maybe she was just like having the same experience with the brother all over again. I mean, personally, I would like if you'd lost somebody for XYZ reason that you had been with, do you really want to be with somebody who you're also probably going to lose for the same exact reason?
I mean, yeah, fair, but like we didn't really know that at that point. Like in the beginning, when Ella was like kind of trying to take note of their interaction and picking up on their familiarity, I really thought that they had at least slept together once, is what I was thinking. Because I was like, if this dude has a history of sleeping with his students and that's what he has a reputation for, like, it just seemed like she was the last one that he had slept with, is what I assumed. So it isn't until much later that you find out that that was his brother's fiance. All of that is so sad. What do you think of like the dad's role and everything?
Okay, so I feel like I also just recently read a book where like the dad was a total asshole like that. But at the same time, it's like I understand that he's going through this pain, and it seems like the what's his name is not necessarily giving up, but he knows that he doesn't want to do this thing that he already knows didn't work or didn't work for very long. So I can understand like the dad wanting, wanting his son to do whatever's going to keep him alive. But at the same time, that doesn't mean he gets to turn around and be an asshole to her. And I'm trying to remember now what was the book that I read around the same time where the dad was an asshole.
I mean, I don't know what stem cell therapy would be like, but even just thinking about chemotherapy, I remember when I found out I had cancer, I was just like, I don't think I can do it. Like, I don't think I can do chemotherapy. Like, obviously, survival mode kicks in, and, at some point you're just like, okay, I'm going to do whatever I have to do. But I kind of feel lucky that they were like, yeah, your kind of cancer doesn't really respond to chemotherapy, so we're not going to suggest that. And I was just like, okay, because the idea.
So you just had radiation, right?
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I can't imagine going through everything that he went through, like being sick, fainting, passing out, like throwing up, like just feeling so sick and miserable for so long after like treatment. It's rough. I also didn't think she was going to sleep with him that fast.
Why?
because she was like, she bumped into him. She was like, "Oh, this guy's an asshole," and then she's like, "Fuck, it's my teacher." And like, it seemed like she really just didn't like him. So the fact that they like turned around and slept together so quickly was kind of wild. Because like their interactions in class seem to be like just her being like, "Fuck this guy," like, you know, he's a know-it-all, or he's bullshitting, or whatever the case is. Like, she just had a lot of negative internal monologue about him, and so it kind of almost seemed a little bit out of character when she did sleep with him.
But also, like, why did he try to give her money at the beginning?
Wait, what?
You don't remember that?
No.
Because he did whatever he did. I can't even remember what it was at this point. She confronts him in the bar, like, the fuck, and he tries to just give her money to just be like,
Oh,
okay,
wait, because like, wasn't it that they bumped into each, like literally bumped into each other in front of a coffee shop, and he like spilled coffee all over her clothes or something?
I don't remember.
And he ruined whatever it was she was wearing. So
I think so. Yeah, I remember that.
That was at like the very beginning where I was
yeah. And so what did she call him? A something Pratt?
That part I don't remember what she called him.
You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about when she found out that he was sick. Because
her reaction pissed me off.
Yeah, no, for
I
real.
wanted to like this girl. He's literally in front of you. He's about to pass out. He clearly it literally says that he's not feeling good, and you continue to get mad at him, and you're not realizing that this kid is about to pass, or this guy is about to pass out in front of you. It just like, I get she was upset. I would be upset too, but my first concern would be like, okay, go ahead and sit down. He was literally asking, can we go inside and sit down and talk about this? And she kept, listen, that when I was listening to that, my blood was boiling. I was like, what is wrong with this person? Like, she's more focused on her anger than she is over his well-being. Like, it pissed me off. I was like, you have no right to be mad if this is how you're treating him while he's really like about to faint in front of you.
Yeah, like that whole thing was like wild. Like, I don't know if maybe that was supposed to reflect her age. But
I was like, listen, I'm about to stab this girl.
No, bro. And then what she said to him,
right? I'm like,
what? Like, what?
Like, I get her anger. I would be upset too, but listen, I mean, it's a big deal to tell someone that you're sleeping with and that you're starting to care about, you know, that, hey, I'm gonna die in a few minutes. Like, I mean, in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would try to be more understanding, but I understand her anger. I would try to be more understanding. I also wouldn't keep the person that, you know, I'm angry at in front of me while he's asking, can I go sit down?
And then she's like, well, good thing I don't love you, and then storms out. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. That was the craziest thing, I thought. Like, how yeah. Clearly, if you're that upset, you have feelings, but also, why would you say that to someone?
Yeah. And I understand, like, in anger, people do say like mean things, but yeah, that was pretty fucked up too.
And then I also feel like I didn't understand when she finally did say I love you. He was like, well, good thing I don't love you. like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing some weird like English tones and humor or whatever, but like none of that just sounded good. Not her saying it the first time, not him saying it back. Was it a joke? Was it like him not being ready to say it back? I don't know. Like, what was any of that? I don't know.
That was just like that. Yeah, that was all weird.
I also like am just annoyed when people try to be so unselfish that they're like inconvenient almost. You know, like him still wanting her to go on vacation without him. You know, obviously she wasn't going to do that. She was going to stay with him. But
Like, okay.
You know, he just didn't want to hold her back, and I get that, but like if the person that cares about you is like, no, I'm staying with you, or no, I want to be here with you, like, I don't know. You need to take their feelings into consideration too, versus just being like, well, I don't want to feel guilty that I'm holding you back.
Yeah. And then he got sort of like a little bit upset that she was staying for him instead of like going back to America to do whatever it is that her career. I was like, I mean,
I like
people make the difficult choices, and you know, here's the thing: a career will always be there, but the person might not. So I understand her decision.
I've definitely heard stories about marriages ending, like when the wife ends up getting cancer and the husband just fucking leaves. Like that's crazy, but it happens. But from my perspective, if you're in a relationship with someone and they're like, I'm sick and dying, like, I feel like you would just want to appreciate every single moment you have left.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad that she stayed. I knew she was never gonna leave, even though she kept saying it so many times. So I was like, the amount of times you're saying it leads me to believe you are definitely not going. But I'm glad she didn't go. I'm glad that she chose him instead. So, and I know a lot of people are gonna think the opposite. I feel like she should have gone, but like this is a romance story. I'm glad the ending that we got was a nice ending. So,
Do you think she you know, because their whole relationship was like, hey, we're sleeping together, it's only once, but then they were like, well, maybe it could be a couple times.
and then they were like, let's just do it until I leave. And then she
right,
never leaves.
yeah, but like I think it was after she found out. I think it had to have been, or maybe she didn't know what was wrong with him. When did she decide she like, because she told him, I want to be your girlfriend? When was that? Was that after she found out?
I think it was after.
Was it? Okay. I don't remember. I remember they were like calling each other boyfriend, girlfriend, and I was like, I don't remember when that initial moment started.
And so when he was like, I need a month, I need a break, right? She had no idea why, I think. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of his mom?
I like the mom. She was definitely like a good like counterpoint to the dad.
I hated the dad, but yeah, I liked the mom.
I kind of want to like, because I think from the beginning, um, they're giving you a sense of the relationship between him and his dad. I kind of want to go back and see what those early interactions were like, to see how much they were sticking in there to kind of like pave the way for the rest of the story, because you do get the sense that there's like just something happening in their relationship.
Yeah. I think his dad is just the way he is, also because of his brother. So, but yeah. So the brother died of the same thing he has. So is this kind of cancer genetic?
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Okay.
And like he
said that several members of his family died of that, right? Or was it just a brother?
not just a brother, but I feel like at some point when he found out that his brother had it, I think he like didn't he get tested for it and he was clear, but then like later on he ended up having to do a blood test for something and found out that he did have it.
I think so. Because I think initially he also tested to see if like he was a match for his brother for
Oh,
something.
that's what it was, right? Okay, so when he tested to see if he was a match, he didn't have it then, but he later found out that he had it.
Yeah.
Because it's a blood cancer, which I don't think they specifically.
So nobody else. So there, I don't remember this, but there was no mention of anybody else in their families who got it. Because if it's genetic, you would think that there's family history.
I don't remember
I don't
hearing
remember there being.
Okay.
anything but his brother.
I mean, I guess when you think about it, all genetic ailments have to start somewhere. So maybe they're the start.
But that doesn't mean that like maybe they were gonna have it, but they just didn't die from that. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or maybe somebody in their family tree did have it, but they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we'd like to talk about with this one?
I think I am going to change my rating.
I feel pretty solid in the rating that I gave it. I'm still kind of just like, haven't had anything higher than a 4 since like May for book club specific.
The reason I mentioned that it's first person is because I 100% love reading in first person, and when both of you gave it a 3.5, I was like, is it because it's in first person?
See, but
I never noticed that kind of thing, so
same.
I don't. So
POV
like,
doesn't affect it for me the way it does for you.
yeah. I mean, I also like, because I don't notice. I don't know if there's a correlation between like books I don't like and
I
that.
guess that's what I was gonna say. That like maybe
But
there is a correlation and you just haven't noticed it yet.
Yeah, but like, I personally don't notice it until you say something on one of our book club books. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Because every time I like watch people review first person books, I hear like the same things, like it was slow, it was boring, nothing happened, like things like that are the things
Right.
people say over and over again. So I don't know, I was surprised by the 3.5s.
So I've had two, for this book club specifically, not even going to quarterly romance, I've had 2 4-star reads in 9 months, which was January for Before I Let Go and May for You're Invited. Since May, it's been a 3, a 2.5, a 2. No, that's different book club. A 3.5 and another 3.5. I have high hopes for October though, so we'll see.
Yeah, but I feel like a 3 isn't bad.
3 is not bad, but like it's not a 4. Definitely not a 5.
Bro, but like for the most part, I feel like when Chloe's reading romance, she's just like handing out the 4s and the 5s.
Ma'am, you are not one to talk. You hand out 5 stars like it is nothing.
What's the last book I gave a 5-star to?
You tell me. Every time we have a book club and you're like so on the book, you're like, this is how I felt about it. I'm not sure about this. I didn't like this. 5 stars.
No.
Or 4 stars. We had a whole conversation about this one of the last book clubs.
Let's see. Hurry up, Goodreads.
I'll tell you, the last time I gave a 5-star was this morning.
Yeah, I haven't rated everything that I've read, but if I'm looking at the stuff that I've rated, the last thing I gave a 5-star to was The Game Changer.
So, okay, I'm trying to pull up September here. Okay, so out of all of my September reads, I had a 4-star, a 3-star, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. They were all graphic novels, though. A 4-star, a 4-star, a 4-star, a 4-star, a 5-star, a 3.5, 4, a 3.5. I give out more 4s than anything else.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
For the whole year. Hold on, I'm gonna find my list for the whole year.
Yeah.
But you said specifically for romance. That was all not just romance. For the whole year, I've given, okay, I have 27 5-stars, 3 4.5 stars, 48 4-stars, 7 3.5 stars, 10 3-stars, 4 2.5 stars, 2 2-stars, and then I have 19 books that were no rating.
Why didn't you read them?
Because sometimes I just don't feel like rating those books. Like sometimes it's a graphic novel that I'm like, yeah, this was fine, but I don't want to rate it. Like I just read Stargirl the other day and I didn't rate it.
I didn't really like Stargirl.
Tell that to Will.
I think I gave it like 3 stars.
I only read it for a Pop Sugar challenge.
Kat, what is the deciding factor in you changing your rating?
Because when we talk about it, like I tend to, for me, when I read a book, I tend to forget it quite quickly unless I really, really liked it and it made an impact on my reading. But when we talk about it, and especially you, because you love it so much, you talk so enthusiastically about it. It makes me like change my feelings about it. So yeah, I just changed my rating of Goodreads to 4.
I loved how they loved each other.
Yeah. I do like that I like that she loved him and she was very American about it. I don't know how to describe it. And I love that he loved her enough to be selfless. I'm like, I'm dying. I want you to be with me, but I want you to, kind of like that whole, if you love him, let him go kind of thing. I did appreciate his selflessness. But at the end of the day, she's very American. Americans are very stubborn. And she was like, fuck you, I'm going to stay. So, yeah.
Is there anything else we'd like to talk about with this one?
Nope. I think I'm good. 5 stars. I really like Julia Whelan's writing and her narration, and I hope she writes more books. I want to read more books by her.
She's probably like so busy being a narrator. It was funny because the next book that I read after this was a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and it had a whole cast of people, but she was also in there because she does like all of her books. Were those your final thoughts? Did you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, those are my final thoughts.
All right, Kat.
Yeah, I love this book. I changed my rating to 4 stars. It was very good.
I'm going to stick with my 3.5 star, which, like you said, is not necessarily bad. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was better than okay. So I guess that's good. I don't know. I feel like a 4 star is good. It was almost a 4-star. But I think I feel very secure in my rating that I gave it. October. I'm really excited for this book. I don't know why. I remember when I picked it, or when we picked it, or voted, or whatever. When the picks came for October, I was excited for this one. We're going to read A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, which is, I think it's like a play on Dracula. It's the tale of the first bride of Dracula. And it's not a very long book, so that is good. The audiobook is only like 5 hours. Although, Kat, I know this is going to irritate you. I was putting my bookmark in there, and the chapters have no numbers. Because I even flipped through like the first couple of chapters because I was like, is that just the first one? No, it's all of them.
Wait, so is there like no chapter name? Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
So our live discussion for this book, our live shows have kind of been all over the place recently, but we're going to be doing it on a Friday this time because I messed up and I double booked myself. But our live show to discuss A Dowry of Blood is going to be on Friday, October 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern on this channel. I'm going to post about it on our Twitter and our Instagram because I haven't done our October post yet. But yes, and for other things going on under the Booktube Chicks umbrella, Pages and Pals is supposed to be this Friday, the 11th. We are all in the hurricane path, though, so I guess we'll see. We'll play that one by ear. So currently it's scheduled for Friday the 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Kat's channel, which is linked in the description below. But we'll play that one by ear and see how that goes. And then also happening, not until next month though, on November 3rd, Desiree and I are doing a quarterly romance book club live show. I don't have a copy of the book with me, but we are going to be reading Pride and Protest by Nikki Payne. And we will be live on Desiree's channel November 3rd at 6 p.m. to discuss that book. And you can follow Quarterly Romance on Twitter as well, where we're going to post about that. But I think that is everything. Both of their channels are going to be linked in the description below, and we hope to see you at any of our upcoming live shows, but we hope to see you at A Dowry of Blood discussion as well. Thank you. Bye.